Hey family, Reverend Russ, super excited to be back with you with another ministry pivot. We are just thankful for all of those who are watching all over the DMV, big shout out, but of course all over the US now, and even a couple people watching over in Africa. Super excited to have you all join us. Don't forget to like, to comment, to subscribe. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to share. The only way, one of the more effective ways for this podcast, for this lesson, for this time to get out to others is when you subscribe, but also when you comment and when you rate, and of course when you share. So please go ahead and do that. If you're watching this right now, just go ahead and hit that little rate button. If you're watching this right now or listening right now, go ahead and hit the little subscribe button, put in a comment and just say helpful, or just say made me think. Those things help for this podcast again to move up so others can be made aware of it. And if you want to share it, please share it with those in your circle that they may be aware of it. I am super aware of it, rather. I am super excited for this, our last ministry pivot of 2021. Super excited for all of the pivots so far. I'll link a couple of them in this intro, inside this pivot, but super excited. I have none other than Bishop Walter Scott Thomas with me, the senior pastor of the New Psalmist Baptist Church. Bishop Thomas is not only the senior pastor, he is also a leader of pastors. He is also a innovative thought leader. He is a mentor. He is a executive coach. He is, of course, a husband. He is, of course, a father. He is so much more. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation between Bishop Thomas and I as we round out. He allowed me in to the beautiful church of New Psalmist Baptist Church there in Baltimore, Maryland, and he allowed me in to come in with my team. Big shout out to Edge Media. They help us with all of our video needs and when we're on site. But he allowed us to come in. He allowed us to speak and talk through. New Psalmist has been back in person for a while. I'm not going to talk through a whole lot of that. Really want you to look forward to seeing that in a couple moments. Don't forget to go on to ministrypivot.com so that you can subscribe. Don't forget about our articles up there. Recently put an article out talking about what does it mean for us to have guests in the church. And I would even talk to you if you're an entrepreneur, not a church leader, but you're a business leader. What does it mean for you to have new people to come in? What does it mean for you to have new customers? How are you engaging your guests? How are you engaging those people there? So that article is out. Also, don't forget about the 5-minute pivots. And I am super excited to say that in 2022, I'll be starting what is going to be called the Pivot University. Can't wait to share about more of that. Can't wait to share about what God has laid on my heart to share with you all with the Pivot University, that we can all grow knowing that this is our season indeed of opportunity. So don't forget to check out Ministry Pivot for all of those things. Don't forget to follow online. Of course, you can follow me at Rev Russ, or you can follow Ministry Pivot at Ministry Pivot on Instagram, and also anywhere else online. And don't forget, we released, I say we because the last pivot that you saw was with myself and my brother and my friend, Pastor Gerard Gunner. He is a super pastor, super leader out there in Memphis, Tennessee. And he released a new book called Riot Starter. And I had the privilege of working with Gerard on this book. Many of you know that youth ministry is definitely in my background. And I had the opportunity to work with Gerard through this book. And I am so excited about what this book is doing. I'm so excited about how many of you have already gotten this book called Riot Starter. Again, it's called Riot Starter because he's encouraging students to start a righteous riot, really encouraging students to stand up for the culture, and against the culture, but represent Christ's culture. Really, it's a righteous riot. And I can't wait for you to grab it. Information for you to grab it will be in the show notes. It's also here on the screen now, but make sure that you grab that book as well. And there's also a small group guide with it. Okay, that's enough of the other stuff. I'm super excited about my conversation with Bishop Thomas at New Psalmist. Come on, let's watch. Welcome, Ministry Pivot. This is Reverend Russ. I am super excited to have you join us, whether you are watching, whether you're listening. I'm in New Psalmist Baptist Church with Bishop Walter Scott Thomas, and I'm excited about this conversation. Thank you, Bishop, for saying yes.
Thank you, Russ, for inviting me.
I appreciate you being a part. Now, I'm going to say this from the onset for those who are watching, those who are listening. This is not going to be a full list of answers, but what this is going to be is super insight. If you know anything about Bishop Thomas, you know the leader he is, you know the man of God he is, you know the pioneer he is, and he's pioneered in the past couple months because he and New Psalmist have opened up for 4 months, you said, Bishop. And so I wanted to have Bishop on. He said yes, took time from his busy schedule to allow us in the beautiful sanctuary of New Psalmist to have a conversation about just some insights and some thoughts since he has opened up New Psalmist in the midst of this pandemic. But Bishop, before we jump to that, I want to ask just to level set, if somebody doesn't know who you are, I don't know where they've been, but if they don't know who you are, can you just level set a little while? How long have you been pastor of New Psalmist Baptist Church?
Russ, it seems strange you asked that question because I was thinking about that today and how long it's been. I came to New Psalmist in 1975.
Wow.
Okay. You weren't even born.
I was not.
We had 200 members living and dead.
Wow.
Sometimes the living came to church, sometimes the dead came. We moved, since I've been a pastor of the church, we've been in 4 locations.
Okay.
Each location represents a new church.
Wow.
A new church dynamic, a new church mission, and a new church awareness.
Okay.
This is my 46th year pastoring New Psalmist and my 71st year of being alive.
Wow. Praise God. That is just ridiculously awesome. And I salute you. You know, Bishop, I appreciate you as a extended mentor. I watch you and talk with you. I appreciate you answering my text messages. So I appreciate it. I want to ask you, though, so you've been pastor now for over 4 decades. And have you ever seen a moment for the church like we're in right now? For those who are watching, listening, whether you're watching now when this is released or you're watching later on, we are still in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, but we are edging hopefully toward what looks like it may be the end. But it's been a lot. So have you ever seen anything like this?
In 1985, we started dealing with, we heard a phrase, children having children.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yeah.
When people say children having children.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, I've never seen an era like this. Nobody's ever seen an era like that. I was 35.
Yeah.
I was young.
Yes.
And I'm saying, we've never seen anything like this. When I was in college, people were marching off to Vietnam.
Wow.
And our friends didn't come back. And some came back in body, but not in spirit.
Yeah.
Never seen nothing like that. When Ronald Reagan was elected president, when the first dot-com bubble burst.
Wow.
And the day traders like they had heart failure.
Yeah.
Never seen nothing like this. When Katrina hit, never seen nothing like this. When the recession hit, never seen nothing like this.
Wow.
This is one in a long stream of never seen nothing like this.
Wow.
Life is nothing but never seen nothing like this. That's what life is.
Yes. Yes.
It's a continuation of the unexplored.
Yes.
It's an encounter with what you have never seen, but what you have been prepared to face.
Yes.
It's just recognizing that whatever seems impossible is what you were trained for in the last problem.
Yeah. No.
And in the last set of situations. I can say clearly, I've never seen nothing like this, but it joins the list of what I've never seen anything like.
Yeah.
4 years ago when we had an election, I had never,
Lord knows,
seen anything like that.
Yes.
And 4 years later, people refusing to take a vaccine. I've never seen anything like that.
Wow.
Ministry is about the unexpected.
Yes.
They had never seen anything like Jesus when he came on the scene.
That's good.
And they'd never seen anything like Jesus when he was on the cross.
That's good.
And they'd never seen anything like Jesus when he got up.
Yes.
And they'd never seen anything like the outpouring of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
We can match trouble with unbelievable experiences from God.
Yes.
I ain't never seen nothing like this. Never in my born days did I expect to be at this age and stage experiencing this.
Wow.
but it fits. If you see life as a movement from, and we sing it, from earth to bright glory.
Yes.
Why would we think that life is a bell curve to get to some height of situation and then start a gradual denouement to the end? No.
Yes.
Life is a journey from earth to bright glory, ascending through the variety of inexplicable experiences.
That's great.
That define or defy what we expect and push what we know.
Yes. No, that's great. And so, Bishop, every time, I told y'all, every time, so there'll be show notes. So we'll put some of this because I think the never seen anything like this. That's going to be his whole thing, Bishop. I don't know where that. I don't
where
know
that's going, but it's going somewhere.
Yeah, it's going somewhere. I don't know where. But I think that context is helpful because I wasn't brought up in church. I thank God. Shout out to my pastor, Pastor Watley, Kingdom Fellowship. We thank God for them. And I've learned a lot in ministry. But this is one of the first since I've been in ministry that I've seen. But you're right, it matches a list.
Think about your experience, Russ. You remember when crack exploded.
Yeah.
And you remember the decimation of our communities.
Yes.
You're old enough to remember that the communities did exist.
Yes.
And you watched them decay.
Yeah.
How does that compare to this?
Yeah. No,
you know,
right.
when you think about it, it's just one more.
It's just one more.
Ain't never.
Yeah. Which is super exciting to know that the same God is able to do it through. And I know people who are watching and listening now know that, but to put it in context.
We have to put things in perspective.
Yes.
God is not a one-hit wonder.
Good.
You know, you have to put the experiences you have in perspective and realize this ain't your first rodeo.
Yes.
This ain't your first dance with disappointment and trouble.
Yeah.
And this ain't the first time you had to stand up in quicksand.
Yes. Yeah.
And the same God that stood you up before and showed you that you could not only stand up in it, but you could get out of it.
That's good. Yeah.
Is still the God of right now.
Yeah.
Stuff changes, but he's immutable.
That's good.
He is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And the moment that begins to concretize in our minds and spirits, we do what Terry McMillan says: we exhale.
Yeah.
Before that, you're holding your breath, waiting for the next shoe to fall.
Yeah.
But once that happens, once you realize the same God of yesterday birthed me to be alive right now, to handle this, which I have no explanation for and no sense of guidance for. I'm Moses saying, what am I supposed to do? And God is saying, what's in your hand?
That's good. That's good.
Just use it.
Yeah.
Just use it. You have had enough experience with me to know that whatever you use is going to have some place in this problem.
No, that's good. That's good. And I think that's the value of having a strong, and several of the pastors and leaders who are watching are strong spiritual leaders, having that person in that room. We did a study recently with Barner, and Barner listed, and I'll put this in the show notes, Barner listed that to this day, the most important, the most, sought after person in the community is still the black pastor, because you all sit, I'm not a pastor, you all sit in the space of authority. But now I'm a pivot, I'm gonna ask a question here. So take us into the staff room when you clearly heard that, hey, it's still going on, but we have to get back into worship. And take us into the boardroom when you talked to the staff, and then when you spoke to the new Psalmist family. How large is the family here, New Psalmist? How large congregation?
We've got I would say we have 7,000 active members.
Active members, okay.
We don't keep the inactive.
I'm with you.
We have 7,000 active. You know, God gives us great ability to compartmentalize so that we can think.
Yes.
You know, if life rushes in on you like a mighty rushing wind, it'll blow you up against a wall and knock you out.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to let God organize your thinking.
Okay.
We closed the doors to this building for one reason.
Yeah.
One reason only. The doctors asked us to.
Okay.
The doctors at University of Maryland Medical Systems called a meeting to which I attended, and they said, we need y'all to shut the churches.
Wow.
I said, what? We need you to shutter the churches. So I asked the question, I said, for how long? Or first I asked, do you mean churches around your hospitals? They said, oh, no. Every church in America.
Wow. Wow.
So I said, well, let me ask the question that's on everyone's mind. For how long? A week, 2 weeks, what? Dr. David Marcosi, who has become my friend through this experience.
Okay.
Commandant for fighting the virus at University of Maryland Hospital at that time when they had maybe 5 cases in Maryland.
Wow.
He said, oh, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 4 months.
Wow.
And then he dropped this line, maybe indefinitely.
Jesus. Yeah.
I sank into the chair, the blood rushed down.
I couldn't imagine that room.
And he was talking, and everything was arbitrary. They had no data to work with. You know, this was a coronavirus, a novel coronavirus.
Yeah.
A new coronavirus that was on the scene that had never been studied. So they didn't know what its impact would be or anything.
Yeah.
And they were saying you could have gatherings of 250 people, but somebody said, well, they said, that's just an arbitrary number. So we like, well, and my math background was said to me, you can't go on arbitrary numbers.
Yeah.
So I rode home that day, and I called my officers when I got home, and I said, I don't think we can open.
Wow.
And it was my anniversary.
Yes, I remember.
That was my anniversary Sunday. And we shut down on my anniversary Sunday because the doctor said it is not safe.
Wow.
It is not safe. And then we started hearing about these outbreaks in churches and everywhere else. But we were shuttered.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that to worry about. I knew it was time to open. I was talking to one of my discipleship guys, and he said to me, the date is like May 14th or 13th, something like that. I'm out walking and talking on the phone.
Yeah. And
he said, Pastor, you heard that the governor came on and said he's lifting the state of emergency.
Okay.
I said, what? What'd you say? He's lifting the state of emergency. I said, listen, I got to call you back. I called around and checked. I called all the pastors I knew in our circle.
Yes.
Called your pastor. He hadn't heard it. Nobody had heard it.
Yes.
Nobody even felt like it was necessary to make us aware this was coming.
Yeah.
So I called my doctors, and they said, I called Dr. David Marcosi, and David said, yes, Pastor, you can open now.
Wow.
He said, but you have to open with precautions. So we went over what those precautions were. What gave me confidence to open was the reason I closed.
Doctor.
I remember one person said to me, said, well, where's your faith? You know, why don't you stay open? Where's your faith? I said, my faith is where it was before I said this. I said, do you realize how much faith it takes to close?
Yeah.
For me, it wouldn't take any faith to stay open.
Yeah.
But it takes a ton of faith to close.
Yes.
The doctor said you could open if we wear masks, if we do this, if we do that, if we social distance. He said we're now at a level. This is in May.
Wow.
So we immediately started working to open in July. Why? So, well, he said you could open in May.
Yeah.
It took God 6 days to build the world, 7 days to create the world. 6 days, and the 7th day he rested.
Yes.
He wiped out Babylon in snap of a finger.
Yes.
It don't take long to shut nothing down. It take a while to open it back up.
Yes.
We had systems that hadn't been started. We had systems that when we started, we found they didn't work.
Yes.
So it was going to take us that long to retrain the body to walk.
Wow. That's the, wow. Okay.
So I called them the meeting, and I told them, I said, the doctors say we can open.
Okay.
Well, what about Sunday? I said, listen, we shut because the doctor said it's not safe to be open.
Yes.
We open because the doctor said it is. Well, is everybody coming back? those who are ready to come back, who want to come back, will come back.
Yeah.
The others, we will still be providing worship for them.
Yes.
And they will still be worshiping with us.
Yeah.
We'll still be worshiping.
Yeah.
But we now have the opportunity to also worship in person.
That's good. Yeah.
And so we started then. And the staff was nervous.
Yeah.
They were antsy. Everybody was antsy because, like I say, this is a novel virus.
Yes.
We're in maybe the third or fourth surge, but nobody knows if there's a fifth or sixth.
Yes.
Every time we think it's over, it's coming back because we opened.
Yeah.
And then after we opened, here comes another surge.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Now, so there's a couple things that I want to just make sure we tease out. The first thing is the hesitation from some of the staff and from some of those who are members and parishioners. How did you balance that?
Asking as many questions as I could.
Okay.
To find out what people's questions were.
Okay.
So that I could answer those questions in my presentations.
That's good.
See, a lot of times we think we know the answers to stuff, and so we get up and we give presentations, but you don't know the questions.
Yep. Yeah, that's good.
So seek to find out what people are questioning, find out those answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
People said they would come to church if we showed that we had taken into account certain things. We got 4,000 seats here.
Yes.
The first Sunday we opened, I was a little nervous because we had a large number of people, larger than what I would have either anticipated or whatever. So we cut it down.
Okay.
We now average about, I'd say 600 to 700 people in worship.
Okay.
But we got 4,000 seats in the sanctuary.
Yes.
And I can socially distance. We sit maybe 3 seats apart.
Okay. Okay.
A family can sit together, then there are 3 seats, then somebody else. We space them all out in the building, up in the balcony, in areas I haven't seen people in. And before, I was preaching to an empty building.
Yeah.
So I'm glad with whoever's here.
Exactly.
But these are they who choose to come, whose questions were answered.
That's good.
Who sense that we were making things safe.
Yeah.
We wear masks, all of that. As you can see, take a look, Russ. If I'm up here, I'm a long way
far,
from the first person.
Yes.
Yeah, ain't nobody up in that area, so I'm a good distance away. I preach from up here.
Yes. Good.
I understand the boundaries necessary for this environment.
Yeah.
Some people will say, well, we're going to do this anyhow. Well, understand the boundaries.
Yes.
Because every message you send in the moment, you send a message to the future.
Yes. No, that's good. That's good. Let me ask you this question. Tying in with opening and tying in, it sounds like you made a pivot on this capacity.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so you shifted. Are there any, because some people who are watching now, who are listening now, some have opened already, some are thinking about opening, they haven't opened just yet. How do they need to prepare? We talked about, you talked with your teams, but what if you had to give 1 or 2 things that they must do? You talked about a survey, so I'm sure that's in there, but 1 or 2 things that they must do, and I would even say, and again, I could be wrong, help me with this if I'm wrong, Bishop, that even if they've started, some things that they can do now to enhance and make sure it's right. So what 1 or 2?
One is, the last thing I said, because I don't want to forget it, whatever you do in the moment, understand you send a message to the future.
That's good. Okay.
If, for example, you bring people into your facility and you have a large crowd, it may look good and it may feel good and you may enjoy it, they'll shout, fall out and whatever, or have good service. And you'll stand there and evaluate and say, this is really good, people are coming back. But you're sending a message to the future also, to everyone who's home watching because they're not ready to come back. And that's saying to them, oh, it's not time to come back.
Wow.
They are not socially distancing. They are not wearing masks.
I
mean, I on the mic say, everybody just touch your face like this. Now, while your hand is there, make sure you put it up and pull that mask up over your nose. Because then you're sending a message to the future service. They are taking precautions. They are doing this. While you're looking here, there's another whole crowd watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on your stream, that's making decisions about what they're going to do next week.
That's good. That's good.
And they're making it based on how you're handling this week.
That's good.
So what's exciting you about this week may be turning them off about next week.
That's so good, Bishop.
And that's one thing people have to definitely keep in mind.
Yeah.
What you do in the present sends a message to the future.
That's good. That's good.
Second thing is, you have to make your people a part of the process.
Okay.
Both in querying them to find out what their concerns are.
Yeah.
Not whether you're going to open or not open. That's not the issue. One day you're going to open.
Yeah.
But what would make them feel comfortable?
That's good.
You know, what are they looking for?
Yes.
Are they vaccinated?
Yes.
What kind of requirements
Yes.
are you going to be putting in place? And being willing to say them.
Yes, good. Yeah.
Like with staff, you know, we hear a lot of people talking about now, how do you handle your staff? But staff wants to know that.
Yep. Yep.
They want to know, am I going to be safe?
Yep. Yep. Everybody wants to be safe.
And so we survey, you think about the future, and then letting people become a part of the process.
Okay.
Don't make it all top down.
Okay. Okay.
Let it be also bottom up.
Yes. Yeah.
Let it be bottom up. Don't just go to the same usual doors.
Yeah.
Find some new doors to open with new people.
Yes.
And give people an opportunity.
Yeah.
There are many people who want to serve and want to be involved now, but they need an opportunity. And one way to give them the opportunity is change the nomenclature, change vocabulary.
Yeah.
People know the old vocabulary.
Yeah.
Your members know the old vocabulary.
Yeah.
And new members, people who've become attached to the church doing this, don't know any vocabulary.
Yeah.
So create a vocabulary that brings in the largest group. If you say, we're opening back up and the ushers are, the deacons are, well, most of the members know that doesn't include them.
Yeah.
But if you talk about new groups
That's good.
that are going to be doing stuff,
That's good.
and you want people to sign up for it and be a part of it, this is brand new.
Yeah.
Oh, then people will sign up.
That's good. That's good.
They'll get involved.
Yeah.
We have an opportunity in opening to be a church we've not been.
That's great. That's great. I think so. The opportunity to be a church you haven't been. That's great. And I want to ask you about the online experience and the in-person experience. A while back, you did a pivot with me, and I appreciate it. It was you, it was my pastor, it was Dr. Nicole Martin. I'll tag that in the show notes. But during that pivot, you outlined a phrase, phygital, that I hadn't heard before. Now I don't know if it's yours, Bishop, but I gave you credit for it. I wrote an article.
Well, you know,
about
everybody gets credit the third time they say it.
Exactly. So I wrote an article about it. I'm gonna put that in the show notes. But I want you to talk a little bit about how your phygital, your hybrid experience is now, because you said something that there are people who are watching, who are planning and thinking, which also means, I know a lot of churches, I actually talked to church this week, unfortunately, they're a smaller church, but they still aren't on Facebook. They're still doing Zoom through audio. They're not even doing a Zoom video. And so I offered to help them and just talk them through some stuff, because I just feel like you have to, but the question is, help us understand how you all are approaching the phygital experience now.
Okay, first of all, let me add this tidbit. God created a moment in history for the church to be the church that he wants it to be.
Yes.
And enabled it to do it on the cheap. You can do Facebook Live with a cell phone.
That's right. Yeah.
Everybody's playing on level playing field.
That's good.
We can upgrade it with different equipment and whatever,
Yeah.
but we all start from the same base thing,
Yeah.
a camera connected to the internet.
That's good.
And anybody can do that.
Yeah.
Reverend Joe Blow with one member can do that.
Yeah.
The key thing on phygital is to understand that in this era, God has redefined the church's involvement in the world.
That's good.
Before 2020, March of 2020, the church invited folk to see what we do. Now, it amazed me when Barack Obama ran for office and half of America did not know what went on in black churches.
Yes.
Now we have YouTube with tons of black churches on there, Facebook Live and whatever. And that's what most of us did with our YouTube and our streaming services that we lauded and talked. I'm on streaming, I'm on this, I'm on that. We stream every Sunday.
Yeah.
We invite people to watch us. Come see what we're doing. Come see our service. And we treated them as if they were in the spectator gallery. We asked for an offering from them, but it reminded me of being in New York and watching the Europeans come and sit in the balconies of black churches. That's what our streaming service was. Well, then in March of last year, God closed what they came to see.
That's good.
And the buses stopped coming by way of internet. And nobody walked up to the balconies of our churches with their coffee cup.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we realized we needed to ask them, could we come into their homes?
Wow, that's good. Yeah.
Can we come in your home? We think we have something you would be blessed by. And we went to great lengths. Walter Jr. helped me understand this, to preach directly into the camera.
Yes.
Because he told me when I had some people in the building, he said, no, when I moved back into the building from preaching at home, he said, I liked you better when you were home.
Wow. Because you're focused on the...
I said, why you say that? He said, because it was like you were talking to me.
That's good.
He said, but when you got back in the building and there was nobody here, you were looking around like there were people in the building. And I knew there wasn't nobody there, but I knew that you were more interested in them.
Wow.
Or giving the impression they were there
Wow.
than paying attention to me.
That's good. That's good.
So during the COVID experience, we've been forced to look into the camera because we're inviting people, or whether we're asking them, can I be invited into your home, into your time?
Yes.
Because you got a million other things. You can go to regular TV and get off of YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I watch YouTube on the regular TV.
Yeah.
You can click over the cable.
Yeah.
Or you can watch me.
Yeah.
I'm asking you to watch me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to create something that I think you'll want to see this in your standard programming.
That's good.
Now we're back open.
Yeah.
And many churches are going back to come watch me. Y'all go back up in the balcony, sit down.
Yeah.
Some pastors are forgetting about who they got in front of them and preaching to the folk out there because they believe they got greater response.
Yeah. Yes.
From them out there.
Yes.
And it's more of them now than are in these floors.
Yes.
The key is to preach to both. To really now have your phygital congregation.
Wow.
That's both physical and digital.
Yep.
That you're preaching out there, you're inviting folk to experience you who are sitting right here in front of you. You're ministering to them. But then those who are in the digital world, you're saying, I got something. You're no longer saying, come see me burn. You're saying, I want to bring something to you. Open the door and receive it.
That's great.
That's what phygital means now.
That's great. That's great. That's
Most of us take it to mean, we have these two totally unique, different experiences. No, we're one church.
Okay.
We're one church that is phygital.
Yes. Yeah.
That meets, like some pastors and some churches will have their digital service and their live service.
Yeah.
And there the twain shall meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do one service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
With an emphasis. One of my officers said to me, Pastor, when you open the door to church, you sound like you're talking to the people in the building. And why don't you pray for everybody to get salvation? Just have everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, that's a good idea. Let me start that now.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Because now I'm not trying to let you watch people get saved.
Yes.
I'm inviting everybody. We do things where we say, let's greet each other, the digital and the virtual and the physical. Let's greet each other.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
That's good. No, that's good. And I think that is super helpful too, because even I heard you say, y'all got to listen, that you, even as you're going, you're taking input from others.
Oh God,
right?
yes.
And you're receiving the input and figuring out. Now, everything may not fit, but you opened up the line of communication.
Yeah.
And
Remember,
so I want to point that out because I think that's key.
This is an experience.
Yes.
And it's not one that I am governing.
That's good.
It is one I'm going with.
That's good. That's great.
You know, I got members who text and say, Pastor, they need to pull in my mask up. Or that we need a little more social distancing. Because the present is determining the future. What you do in the moment determines the future.
That's good.
Speaking to the future.
Yeah.
So they're watching. They say, I ain't coming next Sunday if they're going to be sitting that close.
Like that, yeah. That's good. That's good. That's good. So I'm around out. I got 2 more questions that I want
Go
to
ahead,
get.
yeah.
But not on this list. But of what you just said. What has been the impact of people being out of the building for over a year? Now they're in the building, right? But they've started new habits. How has New Psalmist made an approach to try to help people understand that I get it that you've done everything else on Sunday, but now there's not, and that everybody can't get in, right? So it's 2 different things. Like I want you to come in, but we got precautions so everybody cannot come in. But they have some habits. How are you all balancing that?
You know, I live in the land of metaphors.
Okay.
So let me share with you. Have you ever had a doctor's visit after a holiday? Mm-hmm. What does the doctor normally say?
Whatever the holiday is, how was it?
And does he say this, Russ, you picked up some pounds.
Oh yeah, if it's one of them.
Yeah, you picked up some pounds. You say, well, it was the holiday.
Yeah, yes.
We have to be prepared for that. That is not to be unexpected.
That's good.
It is unexpected.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be.
That's good.
People have changed their way of living, their way of, for want of a better word, coping and handling this experience.
Yes.
And so they picked up behaviors and habits that are consistent with what they've been through.
Yes.
As they begin to come out of what they've been through, they will drop some of those.
Okay.
And some of those they will need help dropping.
Okay.
Bears don't eat in hibernation.
Okay.
They stop that when they come out. They start eating.
Yeah.
Persons who've been locked in the house, there are things they haven't done that they will restart once they can get out the house.
Okay.
And get it in their mind that they're out the house.
Yeah.
Our first job is to help people handle the transition.
That's good.
Not to do all the correcting.
Yes.
Don't correct the limp of the man who walks, who hasn't walked down the steps yet.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to get him to not limp and he land in the bed. Get him walking first.
Yes.
Then show him that he can get rid of the limp. For me, it's not about trying to help people realize all the bad behavior, staying home, and maybe I should be in church. Some people ain't never coming back.
That's okay. Okay.
You accept that fact.
Yes.
You know, some people after Christmas will eat and they'll eat till next Christmas.
Yeah.
You accept that fact. They may have a wake-up moment, but you're not going to give it to them.
Okay.
They will have a wake-up moment when they go to the doctor and the doctor says, your weight increase has increased your blood pressure and has caused your diabetes to be out of whack.
Wow.
And they will say, oh.
Yeah.
There'll be a moment when they will realize, I need to make some changes.
That's good.
And the authentic will always call them back.
That's good. That's good.
Sometimes we try to rope people back with the authentic.
Yeah.
It makes a call and they will come.
That's good. That's good. And what I'm hearing you saying, and I think all of it is priceless. But if we consistently do church well and we minister well, it's going to be more appealing than whatever else they've picked up.
Oh yeah.
Because what they picked up is not the gospel. What they picked up is not, and it's not this level. Because I don't want to discredit the quality ministry that we've done online. But there's something different when it comes to our church about being in the room.
There comes a moment where you need people.
Yeah.
You know, there comes a moment where, and see, here's the other part of it. We've done church.
Yeah.
Question is, have we created church?
Wow. Okay.
That's key.
Yeah.
That's key to this. People will be coming back.
Yes.
Some will not, but the authentic will always call them in.
Yeah.
You know, we look at that passage of Isaiah in the year King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord also high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple.
Yes.
And we read it as if when Isaiah, because Isaiah, some say, was Uzziah's historiographer.
Okay.
He was the one taking notes, but he wasn't Prophet Isaiah.
Okay.
He's the one taking notes. We read that passage thinking about Prophet Isaiah, but it wasn't no prophet. He was working for the man. He had a job, 40 hours a week getting a check. Uzziah moved out on the ash heap. He lost his job.
Wow. Yeah.
And he went into the temple and saw the Lord high and lifted up. Do we think he went there initially? This is a young adult who lost his job. You think first place he went was the church? No. He went everywhere else. The problem was nothing fixed it. Nothing fixed it for him.
Wow.
Until he went to the place he had always gone.
That's good.
Because he was a Jew. So he had always gone to the temple.
Yeah.
But he had never gone to the temple with a need like he had that day.
That's good.
And when he went to the temple with the need, the temple in its authenticity let him see the Lord high and lifted up.
Wow.
People will try everything else,
Yeah.
but it won't meet what they need.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll stumble in here one time,
Yeah.
and it will.
Wow. No, that's good.
That's how we got here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. So let me ask this question. You are not only the pastor of New Psalmist, but you also are a leader of other pastors. And so you have conversations with several pastors, you have teaching and trainings with several pastors. And so my assumption is during this time of season, you've been sharing with them, and these churches are on, they don't all have 4,000 seats in the sanctuary. They are on varying sizes. And I wanted to ask this question from your perspective, hearing and talking with them. What do you think are some things that pastors of churches as small as 50 people, as large as 5,000 people, what are some pivots? What are some things that they need to be aware of as they go back into in-person worship, or as they are already in in-person worship, and a way to make that, the word you used, was an experience?
One thing is we have to reimagine church.
Okay.
We cannot go into the future in the groups, and for example, with Kingdom Association of Covenant Pastors,
Yes.
I did every quarter,
Yeah.
I did a workshop with them.
Okay.
The last one was on liminal space.
Okay.
Prepare-
I'm gonna link that in the show notes. I know somebody tried to get that, but Bishop leads past. I'm gonna link that link in there, and they can contact.
Well, we
you.
did this thing on liminal space, how to prepare to cross these thresholds
Okay.
into the unexpected, and
Okay.
into the and you have to reimagine it.
Wow.
You have to reimagine church. God's given us an opportunity to be wrong and not have anybody tell you you're wrong.
That's good.
You know, to try something and not to have somebody say, that ain't gonna work because we did that.
Yeah.
You ain't done none of this before. We ain't done none of this before.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we have opportunities that are unbelievable. So every church, large or small, should reimagine who they are.
That's good.
And what they're called to do and why they exist.
That's good. That's good.
Reimagining. The next most important thing going forward, as we start to peek up out the cave, is to understand in some ways we were built for the life we had. We exercised and trained for it. We haven't trained for the life we have.
Help us. Speak to that.
If you played basketball in high school, you trained for basketball.
Yeah.
You did certain drills and whatever, dunks and this, that, and other, passings. I don't know. But now you're playing football. And the training you had for basketball doesn't work for football.
That's great.
The training we had prior to 2020
Yes.
was for a world like this.
Yes.
Our communication about what we were going to do online was never really but so much.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we were out there as a presence, and it gave us a sense of exalted status.
Yes.
But insofar as consuming mission
Yes.
and understanding the pain and anguish that might be out there, it did not drive the bus.
Yes.
It didn't drive the bus. Most pastors didn't even know how many people were watching and where they were watching from.
True.
Many did not even put effort
Yes.
into that.
Yes.
But now, oh my God, now we have a responsibility
Yes.
to look at new ways of doing things and evaluating things different, and seeing for a whole year, the only congregation we had was one that gathered online.
Yes.
And pastors, me included, often check numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But did we know names?
Wow. Okay.
Going forward, we've got to reassess all of that.
That's good.
Reassess all of that.
Yeah.
And we got to ask the question, why did God allow the church to be closed? This is his body.
Yeah.
Why did he allow it to be closed?
Wow.
It must have been for some major reason.
Yeah.
And it must be for a future for which we are so important, but we must be prepared for in a different way than we were.
Wow.
We weren't prepared for the future that's coming.
Yeah.
This transition
Yes.
is helping to prepare us for the future. Some friends of mine said to me, I'll be glad when this is over. I said, part of me says that, but I ain't sure. I don't know if I'll be glad when this is over because I don't know what's coming.
Wow.
And when I look at what's going on in our country and in the world, I'm not sure that the next 4 years are going to be great.
Wow.
Are going to be easy.
Yeah, that you're blowing my mind with the thought of the Lord preparing us to be able to go. I'm not
for
ready.
the future that he's going to need us in. We aren't built. We weren't built for this, and so he had to retrain us. We've been in AAA camp.
Yeah, yeah.
For the last year and a half. Now, not everybody gonna make the team.
Yes. Wow.
Because some folk gonna say I'm going back. Like Michael Jordan said, I'm leaving baseball. I'm going back to basketball.
Yes.
But we're in a new sport now.
Wow.
Everything's changed. Our insular inspiration and edification moment has given way to a larger experience of externals and salvific encouragement and change in the world.
Wow. Yeah.
The little insular, like what the Busy Bee Club gonna wear for the anniversary. Nobody's asked that for a year and a half. Mm-hmm. But they have asked, can we use another space to put food in to give out to families?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Can we take on another mission side?
That's awesome.
Another mission side. Ain't nobody asked what color carnations we're gonna have.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That insular.
Yeah.
Week after week family reunion is giving way to a broader expression of empowerment and encouragement to change the world.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's great. That's great. So my last question before I ask you about some books and resources is, what are 1 or 2 pivots that you all made since reopening? Just to give hindsight to some who, again, don't have the number of members who are here, but to say, oh, well, if they're dealing with that, then we deal, it's okay. Or for those of us who haven't gone in just yet, as a way to peer into some pivots that we may need to make.
We were going to open a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Because we closed everything.
Yes.
I mean, you hear the hum of the building.
Yep. Yep.
That's all the building has heard in the last 18 months is its own music. We don't have groups, classes, funerals, anything. We didn't have any of that going on.
Yes.
We thought about how we could open some of those things up and whatever. We had to pivot midair. Ministry pivot through COVID is not just a pivot, it's pivot in midair.
That's good. You preach that.
Oh yeah, it's pivot.
I'm a link. If we can find it, I'm gonna link that because I remember it.
It's pivoting in midair and not being afraid to do it. You can't be concerned on how you're gonna land.
Yes.
You just gotta make the pivot.
Yes.
Because if you keep going in that direction, you slamming a wall.
Wow.
You gotta pivot in midair and make what has to work.
Yes.
By doing it a different way.
That's good.
We didn't open. We don't do funerals. We don't do Bible classes. We do Sunday morning worship. That's when we gather together.
Wow.
Every other time we gather in another way.
Yeah.
And we explain it that way.
That's good.
We don't gather together except on Sunday morning to worship together.
Okay.
But we are together in every other phase.
That's
every
good.
other. That was a major pivot.
I'm sure.
We went from the staff coming back to arrangement to in midair asking the question why.
Okay.
Can't they do this work from home? They did it for 18 months.
That's good.
It means we have to perfect how we communicate in this space.
Yeah.
And do it better.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it can't be done.
Yeah.
Because again, we're thinking safety issues and the like. Another big pivot was from church as was to church as need be.
Help us. What do you mean?
Church being defined as Sunday.
Yes.
As was, trying to recreate the Sunday experience. I ain't trying to recreate the Sunday experience. I may have tried that the first week or so, but I ain't trying to recreate the Sunday experience. I'm not even sure I'm preaching what's on my paper.
Really?
You know, I write the sermons, and me and the preachers laugh, because my sermons are like 28 pages.
Wow.
And they were like, what? How many pages? And I remember when I spent time writing out my 20 and preaching my 28.
Yes.
Now, it's all about, did you get it?
Wow.
Did you get it? Did you get what I'm trying to say?
Wow.
Do you catch did the passion ignite the kindling in you?
That's good.
So that the flame can be released in you.
That's good. That's good.
The words I'm sending with the passion, and the passion is the fire, not the words.
That's good. Yeah.
The sermon is the sermon. What I'm trying to ignite with is the passion.
That's great. That's great.
Before COVID, I might have said I was trying to ignite with the sermon, with the substance of the word.
Yeah.
But now I'm trying to ignite with the passion for it.
That's good.
Brothers and sisters, this you can't miss.
That's
you
good.
gotta get this.
That's good. Yeah.
And let that cause the burning to take place.
Wow.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I do. Those are three awesome pivots. I'm gonna list those specifically in the show notes as well. Last question, Bishop. You've been great. I don't want to take. I know you got stuff to do. I want to ask you about books and resources. I know you have a new book out, or a book that was out more recently. I'll link that in the show notes. But as leaders, I know that sometimes we are exposed through what we're able to see, but also through what we're able to read. And I know you as a reader, and so I'm never going to sit down with you in any space and not ask you what you're reading.
My book is entitled Holding On by a Thread. When I wrote it, I had no idea what we were going to go through.
Yes.
And that people would be holding on by a thread.
Wow.
And that one of the chief things they'd have to learn is how to slow down.
That's good.
You know, most of us rev the engines in this.
Yeah.
But when you're traveling at warp speed, you can't get it. You can't be upset that you have a warp life. You know, every now and then and you can't be upset that the folk traveling with you become warped.
That's good.
You got to drop out of warp speed and get an impulse sometime.
Yeah.
Because this was uncharted territory.
Yes.
No computer program told you what asteroids were in front of you. Traveling at warp speed, you're about to go kill yourself.
Wow.
So drop down. So that was my book, Holding On by a Thread. Books by Walter Brueggemann.
Yes.
Virus. He has one on the virus now, and Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
His books are critical. Todd Bolsinger.
Yes.
His books are critical in this period.
Yes.
Leonard Sweet.
Okay.
Frank Viola.
Yeah.
Anything by them is really good. I've read those. People like even theologian N.T. Wright.
Okay.
Dr. N.T. Wright, books that will take a different slant in certain areas.
Okay.
But they're worth reading.
Yes.
All of that has guided me. And then stuff that has nothing to do with like General Stanley McChrystal's books.
Okay. Okay.
Those are invaluable for any preacher
Okay.
trying to chart his way or her way through this.
Okay. No, that's good.
Stanley McChrystal, he has one book on teams and one on risk.
Yeah.
They're worth reading.
Okay. I'm going to link these authors and their suite of books. I'm going to link Bishop's book. But Bishop, I thank you for being a part of the Pivot, man. I thank you for being a part of it on the second time. I'm going to link the first time there too. But thanks again. Praying for New Psalmist. It's an awesome church. It's an awesome leader. Super excited about the work you're doing in Baltimore, but more than that, across the country and across the world. Thank you all for getting on Ministry Pivot. Don't forget to like, to comment, to share, to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Commenting is really important in the podcasting space. If I'm learning and I'm pivoting, because when you comment, it also raises the level of the podcast across podcasts. So looking forward to you being a part of the next Ministry Pivot. And don't forget that this is your season of opportunity. God bless.